All right, we have big winter weather coverage today. Our team is spread across all Arkansas and Oklahoma. Of course, meteorologist Stephen Elmore tracking, Skot Covert tracking the snow and cold. Ready to give us details in just a little bit.
Absolutely. Our whole weather team is in-house right now with Scott leading our coverage, and Kayla Davis is live monitoring road conditions in real time. And right now she's going to tell us what she's been seeing as Arkansans try to get to where they need to go. Kayla, where are you?
Well, and if you do have to get out on the roads today, Morgan Wrigley looking out for you as well. She is in Sebastian County, where it has been snowing for the last hour or so, monitoring driving conditions there.
And we're also in touch with emergency services today. Jacob Luthi talked to Fayetteville Police, asking how the winter storm could affect response times when they're needed most.
Of course, we'll be covering all of that, closures, delays, and a whole lot more over the next hour or so. We do want to start, though. Scott is in the Weather Center now to talk to us about it. It started about an hour ago, and we're just now seeing it move into the entire area now.
And the conditions are going to continuously deteriorate over the next several hours. This is going to be a somewhat long long-duration event. It's beginning now, and often at the onset of these winter weather events, statistics tell us that's when we have the most accidents on those interstates and highways. We've seen numerous of those. You're taking a live look behind me along Zero Street there in Fort Smith. You can see roads mostly snow-covered. We're moving slowly but surely out there, and if you have to be out and about, you're definitely going to want to take it slowly. We'll have full coverage of road conditions for some unique angles coming up here shortly. First, let's get to live radar. A lot of blue moving into the area. This is Doppler radar indicating mostly snow is falling. We did have, as suspected, a little bit of sleet in our southern portions of the viewing area before everything transitioned over into snow. Now, when you look at this, you've got some lighter whites. That's going to tell us some light snow. We really want to hone in on where things become a little bit darker blue. Now, it's going to be our heavier snow bands moving into the area. Those are going to be very efficient snowmakers. We're talking 1 to 2 inches per hour will be common for the next couple of hours, especially across parts of LaFleur and Scott counties. That's going to be the jackpot zone over the next several hours as this system continues to move off towards the north. We're now starting to see snow flurries fly in parts of northwest Arkansas. I'm just taking a look at some of our cameras off screen there. Looks like most of the activity right now in the River Valley, but certainly we're going to continue to see those snow showers pick up in coverage across parts of northwest Arkansas as well. Road conditions likely begin to deteriorate rather quickly there. The latest snow projections look like this: 4 to 7 inches across a large majority of the area from Bentonville down towards Fort Smith. We're going to fall between that 4 to 7 zone. Not everyone gets 7. Not everyone gets 4. A lot of us somewhere right in the middle in that sweet spot. 5 to 8 south of I-40, and then we introduce the 7 to 9 range from southern LaFleur into the large majority of Scott County. It's possible maybe we can see parts of southern Sebastian getting close to Mansfield, also in that 7 to 9 zone. This is going to take a while, so it's going to slowly but surely accumulate. The heaviest of snow is actually projected to move into the area later tonight. We'll go a little bit closer. Siloam Springs, Springdale, War Eagle, Hinesville, Huntsville, Elkins, Goshen, Fayetteville, everyone in between, Farmington included. We're now in that 4 to 7 inch zone. Looking at 5 to 8 south of the river, south of Interstate 40, south of US 64 there between Muldrow and Coal Hill. I was just taking a look at one of the cameras we have access to in Muldrow from a tow truck driver at the way station there. Everything is completely snow covered. We'll bump those numbers up a little bit more. 7 to 9 from Waldron. Waldron's going to get a lot of snow out of this event. There's no question about it. It's coming down, and it's likely not going to stop until later this evening. Let's dive into the timeline. The River Valley, you got a pretty high chance of snow, 70% the next several hours. We'll bump that to 80 and eventually to 90 by this evening. Again, we're expecting the heaviest of snow later tonight, and a lot of that's going to continue after you go to bed, and many of us waking up to a winter wonderland tomorrow. Northwest Arkansas, as that system moves in a little bit closer, that's going to be happening a little bit later in the afternoon, later in the evening than the River Valley, but it's certainly a coming. 50% chance of snow by 2 o'clock, so that's going to be in about an hour. We'll bump that up to 70% chance by 6 and 7 o'clock this evening, and those probabilities expected to only increase the closer we get to midnight. All of the area now under a winter storm warning. Everyone's shaded in pinks in that warning. That means you have a chance to get at least 4 inches of snow. That doesn't mean everyone gets it, but there's some probability out there, according to the Weather Service, that now qualifies everyone for this winter storm warning. The winter storm severity index, this is the how big of a pain in the rear end is this system index, is how I like to refer to it as. Now, a lot of us are in the major category south of Interstate 40, so the River Valley showing up in some of that major red. Meanwhile, everyone else now in orange. Last night when I went to bed, we had some minor yellow in Benton County, but what changed overnight is the strength of the system. It's strengthening as it moves in, more so than what was projected by weather data. We've also got more moisture for this system to work with, and those are two very critical ingredients that are coming together to result in higher snowfall totals, thus more impacts expected right here locally. Some of those impacts are going to get worse the further south you go. A lot of folks have been messaging me, hey, I've got travel plans. I got to get to Little Rock for an appointment. Here's the thing, Little Rock's probably going to get this thing worse. Southeast Oklahoma also now showing up in the major category. You've got some extreme purple down in South Arkansas. That's where we expect not only snow, but a large majority of South Arkansas very well sees freezing rain. Up to about 1/4 of an inch, which is enough to cause some power outages. You've also got some sleet mixing in that part of the state as well. Here locally, I expect this high degree of confidence. We are going to have travel issues. We're having them right now. We'll bring you the latest on those road conditions from our crews that are scattered all across the 5 News viewing area here in a couple of minutes. Closures, you've seen them coming in. They're at the bottom of your screen right now. You can go to 5newsonline.com for a complete list of closures that have been sent to us. It's going to stay relatively cold, so while a lot of kids are definitely going to be out there enjoying the snow, making good memories, and that's exciting and that's good, right? keep them bundled up. These temperatures are going to stay chilly, especially overnight into the mornings. And one of the things that I'm very concerned about, we've had this Arctic air in place since Sunday. And because of that, a lot of our ponds have developed a thin layer of ice, and looks are deceiving. So as the kids are going out there, not only is the thin layer of ice tempting, maybe you might think, oh, I can walk over it. You can't. It's certainly not going to be that thick, but the snow's going to fall on top of it, and it's going to be very deceptive. So before the kids head out the front door, make sure to have a talk with them. Say, hey, avoid the ponds, avoid the bodies of water. Even though you think you can walk across that ice, you can't. So let's be really careful about that. Power outages, I keep that in the low category. Futurecast shows more and more of these snow showers continue to build into the overnight hours. We'll fast forward this all the way up until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's possible it may not be necessarily a constant steady snow, especially in northwest Arkansas, but if it comes to an end, expect more to be moving into the area. It's just like rain showers. Sometimes they can be scattered in nature. They'll come on and off, on and off. That's going to be the trend into the overnight hours, especially north of 40, even more so north of the tunnel. But in south parts of the viewing area, we're talking Poteau and Fort Smith, Waldron, Paris, Ozark, Charleston, Hackett, Mansfield, everyone in between. It's probably going to be a steadier clip of snow most of the evening. And watch where we find these darker colors here. That's that heavy snow band. Those are going to be very efficient snowmakers, and it's in those areas where we find those darker blues that we're probably going to see some pretty efficient and impressive snowfall rates. We measure that by inches per hour, and 1 to 2 is going to be common. That just means what it sounds like, 1 to 2 inches of snow accumulating every hour, and you can easily see when that happens, we're going to see some impressive totals. How about overnight, 2 o'clock in the morning? Maybe we got some overnight workers trying to get home or go to work. You're going to be dealing with some widespread travel issues. Snow's going to continue to compound the problem until we start to see things taper off, probably around sunrise tomorrow morning. It's 28 degrees. That's a live look into Fort Smith. Can't see a whole lot, but I can see snow coming down there. This is from our ACHE camera there on the south side of town. Feels like it's 22. Why do we care about those temperatures so much? It's all coming down. It's all going to freeze immediately. So while things are somewhat quiet right now here in Bentonville, it's 31 degrees. It's going to start to accumulate. Road conditions are going to get troublesome as soon as that snow moves in, and it's knocking at your back door in Bentonville. It will not be much longer before you start to see accumulations there. We're going to be tracking this system. We're going to be tracking the impacts that include your road conditions here in the Weather Center all night long, all through tomorrow. Meteorologist Stephen Elmore, Joshua Weisel, myself will be in for the foreseeable future. For now, we'll send things back to news.
All right, thank you, Scott. We appreciate you all being here. And here's a live look outside right now. The snow started falling this morning in Oklahoma and continued moving into Arkansas.
Yeah, we know you need information during these times of events, so we are in touch with emergency leaders all around the area. Of course, the Arkansas Department of Transportation, the National Guard, which has been deployed, and a whole lot more. And right now, our team coverage continues with the road conditions so far, and they are getting worse as we talk.
Yes, in some parts it hasn't started quite yet, but it is about to rear its ugly head. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis has been in touch with some of the crews. She's live off of I-49 in Rogers with an update on how things are looking out there right now. Hey, Kayla.
Hey, Alexandra and Darren, that's right. We're here in Rogers, right outside of the Embassy Suites Hotel in the Promenade area overlooking I-49. And as you can see, we've got quick traffic flow right now. There's no ice on the roads, obviously, and no snow landfall yet over here, but it's going to be making its way up from the river valley, just like Scott said. So the Arkansas National Guard has over 150 members that are partnering with the Arkansas State Police to make sure that they can help people that end up getting stranded on these roads. However, they're not going to be able to recover any stranded vehicles. So our team over here at 5 News is asking you guys to please make sure you stay off the roads and stay home if you can, and make sure you're running any of those errands early before the snow makes landfall, and especially before dark. And not only is it important to stay off the roads to help out law enforcement, but also for the Arkansas Department of Transportation that's going to be out here trying to treat these roads to get us back to normal travel conditions as quickly as possible. All right, that's your live update here from Rogers. I'm going to send it over back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Kayla. And right now, 5 News reporter Morgan Wrigley is in the River Valley after the snow moved into Oklahoma. Fort Smith got that snow up next.
Yeah, she's picking up our live coverage now with a live look at current conditions. And last time I looked at Morgan, it was really coming down. Morgan, what are you seeing out there right now?
Like those earmuffs.
Hey, Darren and Alexandra. Yes, I had to bundle up. It was time to put the earmuffs on and the hood out here. Snow has been falling since about 11:15. It hasn't slowed down, and it's very heavily accumulating on the ground and on the road. And the roads in Fort Smith are not good. I'll give you a look here. Traffic has really backed up and slowed down. You're looking at Phoenix right here in 540, of course, running above it. And Sebastian County Emergency Management tells me there are quite a few wrecks. You heard Scott mention that as well. Travis Cooper, the Director of Emergency Management, told me just a few minutes ago that Highway 71 South has traffic going about 20 miles per hour, has had about 4 accidents so far on 71, and there have been so many accidents. Fort Smith Police is asking if you are involved in a no injury accident right now, for your safety and the safety of first responders. They're asking that you just exchange information and file a report at a later time once these road conditions improve. We know crews are out. They've been out all morning and they're still out right now trying to keep everyone safe. And like Kayla mentioned, one of the best ways you can help them is by staying home if you can, to avoid contributing to the traffic that we're already having. We're going to continue tracking things in Fort Smith all day and all day tomorrow as well. But for now, back to you.
Thanks, Morgan. Quite a few accidents out there. Wow. All right, 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is in Fayetteville. He's picking things up with a look at the current conditions there. Hey, Jacob.
Of Ramey Junior High School here in Fayetteville. Within the last 10 minutes, there was nothing, and then all of a sudden, snowflakes are now falling. So whether you're happy about it or not, the snow is here in Fayetteville right now. School's supposed to be let out at 1:50 p.m. right here at Ramey Junior High School. But I've been seeing parents coming, pretty much 60, 70 cars so far, going inside, picking up their students, probably listening to the advice of a lot of officials that have been saying, which is, you know, do what you need to do before the storm comes. But it was a really cute moment. One of the doors just opened behind me a little while ago. It looked like a teacher had opened the door for some students. They all started screaming. I think a lot of these kids are excited to maybe miss some school, you know, or get out early today, but also to see the snow. But if you need any more information on school closures, you can, of course, visit our website on 5newsonline.com. But in speaking with Fayetteville officials today and the Fayetteville Police Department, there's another thing that I wanted to point out, which is the things that they're concerned about. Kayla was mentioning it earlier. If you have things that you need to get done early. But if you know Fayetteville, you know that the hills here can be a problem when the snow comes and when the roads become slick, and those hills, like the one right behind me over there, those are the ones that Fayetteville Police today was telling me that are of concern when the snow starts to fall, when people are going a little bit too fast. They can go down those hills too fast, end up in a ditch, end up in someone's yard. That's something that Fayetteville Police told me that they've seen happen before. But really, they're saying, and I know that we're all mentioning this today, and the officials that I've been talking to are saying, if you don't need to be outside when things start to get worse, if it's not absolutely necessary, then stay home, enjoy the snow from home. It is very beautiful right now, and it's coming down really lightly, but that, as Scott was saying earlier, is expected to change in the later hours. But again, if it's not absolutely necessary to be outside and running your errands out and about, get those last minute essentials if you're trying to get them, get those early, get those before the snow comes. But I mean, it's picking up right now. Like I said, maybe 20 minutes ago, nothing. Now, some pretty decent snow falling down. Of course, we'll be here covering it all, and we'll be also keeping an eye on to see kind of just how busy it starts to get here at Ramey Junior High School. But I'll go ahead and send it back to you guys.
All right, Jacob, thanks. Of course, it's a tale of two worlds. You got River Valley looking like this, and then in what you just saw, Jacob, in Fayetteville, just now starting to happen. Looks like it's been snowing in Fort Smith and the River Valley points south for the last hour or so, and it's starting to accumulate quite a bit. And there are a number of accidents that have already taken place in the River Valley. Police are asking again, if you can stay home, please stay home. Here's a look out at at Rogers Avenue on the east side of Fort Smith. Not a lot of movement there with that traffic. I know there's a hill if you know Rogers Avenue, going to the right side of your screen, you're heading up a hill toward 540. That might be where they're kind of backed up right now. Scott's here to talk about this snowfall, and it's almost officially covering the entire area now.
No question about it. And if it's not snowing where you live, maybe in Northwest Arkansas, Benton County, give it another hour or so, and it certainly will be. I want to dive into road conditions out there. This is a look at what roads are being impacted by what. Right now, we primarily see, I'm going to turn it back on here, we primarily see our primary and local roads roads dealing with snow. There's not a lot of ice or sleet out there. That's the good news. But you can see 49 extending from Fayetteville all the way down to the 40-49 interchange there in Alma, dealing with some snow, both north and southbound lanes. We also have a good chunk of 22 between Fort Smith all the way over to Russellville, and now I-40 between, let's say, the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line all the way to Mulberry, dealing with some snow as well. We can poke into some of these cameras here where there are a few accidents. This first of which is going to be, looks like the accident itself out of camera view, but this is along Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Looks like I'm actually on the wrong computer there, and I've been on the wrong computer this whole time. I'm sorry. I'm going to get with it here real soon. Let's go back to that camera. You're going to notice here's Phoenix Avenue. We are at a standstill there along I-40. Folks trying to make the exit there. We're looking towards the north, and man, oh man, it is going to be a mess for those that have to be out there on those roads. A live look along 59 at exit 5. This is near Alma. Looks like Van Buren, I should say. We're moving slowly both directions there along I-40, looking off towards the east there as that snow continues to fall. Do have another accident. I think this one's going to be closer to Rogers Avenue. Can't see it. It's also out of view of the camera, I think. Wow, we're moving really slow out there as near whiteout conditions do cause some treacherous travel. Here's that 40-49 interchange near Alma. An accident also reported there by RDOT. It's out of view of this specific camera. Sometimes these accidents don't happen in front of the camera, and that's just the way it is. Here's what we're looking at. For a number here, 479-785-5000. I would love to know what you're seeing in your neck of the woods. Doppler radar is one of the coolest tools we ever have, but at the end of the day, your reports and what you're seeing is a million times more valuable to us. We've got the full team here analyzing your data, your pictures, your images, and what we're going to in turn do is pass that along to the National Weather Service out of Tulsa and Little Rock, and at the end of the day, that's going to help them improve forecasts going forward. So you helping us is actually us helping you at the same time. 479-785-5000. Include your location. When it gets all white out like this, sometimes it's tough to tell exactly where these pictures are taken. And if you would, include your name so we can give you credit. Here's live radar. You see, we'll start from the north and we're going to work our way towards the south. There's some white showing up here on radar, which is really light snow that the radar is detecting. But you work your way a little bit further towards the south. We get into parts of Fayetteville, southern Washington County, right there along 49 near Winslow, and we start to find some of those darker blues. So the intensity is picking up. But yet again, we find the largest area of dark blue. It's actually happening south of Interstate 40. Snowfall rates to the effect of 1 to 2 inches is going to be common in this zone for the next couple of hours. And you see that bright banding right there. And that's certainly one of the ways to pick out exactly where that heaviest snow is falling. I'm going to do something a little interesting here just to analyze some of this in real time. Forgive me if this doesn't look pleasing to the eye, but I think we're going to learn a lot from this. What I'm doing is I'm telling the radar, okay, I get it, I know it's snowing. I want to see what this looks like if it were to be just rain. And right now we find the reds and the oranges and yellows. That's where radar would be picking up the heaviest of precipitation. It's outside of our viewing area right now, but you do see some parts of southern LaFleur County starting to see some of those pockets of yellow, and that's the radar detecting some really heavy snowfall rates. That's going to probably continue moving up towards the north and east. We'll have to be very mindful of that over the next several hours. If we start to see more of that heavier precipitation, well, that's where we're going to start to have some serious issues out there on the roadways on top of what we're already looking at. How much snow can you expect in your neck of the woods? We're locked in to this forecast right here. 4 to 7 inches is going to be very common north of Interstate 40. There could be a sliver of northwest Benton County that may fall within that 2 to 4 inch range, but I'll tell you, everything I'm seeing this afternoon suggests a good chunk of us are probably going to fall within 4 to 7. A little bit further towards the south between Poto into parts of Fort Smith, Van Buren, let's say Hackett, Greenwood, Ozark, Charleston, Branch, Lavaca, Driggs, Paris, Boonville, Scranton, Clarksville. I really think we're going to be finding ourselves in that 5 to 8 inch range. But the further south we go, Heavener, Waldron, southern LaFleur, a good chunk of Scott County. Wow, you're going to hit the jackpot. 7 to 9 inches is going to be very common across that part of the area. And I'm not going to be surprised if we don't see an isolated, that's the key word there, isolated report of near 10 inches of snow somewhere in southern LaFleur, perhaps somewhere in Scott County. We go into Polk, which is where Mena is, Queen Wilhelmina State Park. I think we're going to trend closer to that 8 to 10 inch range there. The further south we go, better moisture, better dynamics, more snowfall. We can take a closer look into some of these towns, what it means for you in Siloam and Decatur, Centerton and Bentonville. I think you better get ready for 4 to 7 inches. It's coming down now, and if it's not, it will be very soon. It is coming down in the River Valley. We're starting to see those road impacts, especially in the Fort Smith area. So those are probably going to continue to compound as more and more snow falls. Folks getting out on the roadways there if they're not already home. 7 to 9 in places like Parks and Waldron. I think Mount Magazine may be a special spot. It always is, just given the elevation, but I think certainly we get to the state park up there on that mountain is going to be nice and white. Heavener there, 7 to 9 inches is going to be very common for the southern half of LaFleur County. What does it look like in terms of a timeline? It's snowing now in the River Valley, and it's not really going to stop necessarily until probably tomorrow morning. With that said, these are going to be some scattered showers, so there may be some intermittent breaks before the next wave of shower activity moves into the area, but the bulk of the accumulation isn't happening this afternoon. The bulk of the accumulation is expected later in the evening into the overnight hours. So what we got right now is just the warm-up. The big show happens later tonight. Northwest Arkansas, the timeline's a little bit later, just given the orientation of the storm system moving from the south to the north, but nonetheless, give it a couple more hours, and you are certainly going to be feeling the impacts of this winter storm system. We have alerts in effect for everybody. If you're watching this stream, there's a good bet you're under a winter storm warning. It includes almost the entire state of Arkansas, a large chunk of eastern Oklahoma. This map looks a little bit different. Last night when I went to bed, Benton County was under an advisory, but the way the data just continuously trended up and up and up overnight, the Weather Service out of Tulsa go ahead and placing Benton County under that winter storm warning. How big of a pain is this system going to be? The Winter Storm Severity Index tells us major impacts expected along and south of Interstate 40. Is it going to be the worst snowstorm we've ever had? No. Is it going to be historic? No. Is it going to break records? Likely not. Is it going to be memorable in this part of the area? I think probably so. We start to have those major impacts. We're talking travel, cancellations, closures, maybe isolated power outages out there here and there. I still don't think that's necessarily going to be widespread, but we start to talk about this amount of snow, our impacts are certainly going to be greater, and we'll be feeling that, especially across south of Interstate 40. Towards the north, we're now all in the moderate category there in orange. Extreme is located in parts of southern Arkansas, where they're unfortunately going to be dealing with ice, sleet, and snow, and a mix of all of the above. What are we looking at here locally? We'll wrap this up here and send things back to news. Travel is going to be a problem. It already is a problem. According to some of the best statistics from folks at RDOT, the majority of accidents when it comes to winter weather storms happen in the first couple of hours. They happen right now. It's as folks are trying to rush home and roads are getting slick and wet. So I suspect the number of accidents that are being worked are going to continue to increase over the next couple of hours. A lot of closures. You probably see them scrolling at the bottom of your screen if you're watching us on Channel 5. Those are going to continue to come in. We've got a full exhaustive list over on 5newsonline.com. We also have live radar. So if you need to go out and about, you need to take care of cooking some supper, some soup for the night, you can just go to our website. You can scroll live radar all night long. Extreme cold is going to continue. I think we're going to have cold continue for the next couple of days before we gradually start to warm up late in the weekend into next week. That's a look at the impacts we expect here today into tomorrow. Some of the road concerns could linger even over into Saturday. Just depends on how stretched our road crews are. I will tell you just anecdotally, and I know we're going to hear from RDOT real soon from Dave Parker, this is a statewide event in Arkansas. So typically sometimes when these winter weather events only impact a portion of the state, they can bring in resources from central, southern, or eastern Arkansas. But at this point, those resources are going to be needed where they typically are housed. We're not going to get a lot of outside help, is what I'm saying. Oklahoma, I think the same can be said there. While it's not impacting the entire state, it's impacting a large majority of it. And so maybe it's going to take just a little bit longer. The good news here is sometimes our winter weather events in this part of the area, it starts out as a cold, freezing rain, which means they can't go out and pre-treat the roads. Otherwise, it would just wash off before the snow actually falls. Because this started as snow for the most part, there were some pockets of sleet. The pre-treatment was starting yesterday, which is great news. So maybe we can kind of mitigate some of that. We're going to keep analyzing live radar. I'll have another look at that here coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks. Here's a look at some video that was captured by Ed Anderson today when the snow first began, and you can see already that it was accumulating there pretty quickly. And I wonder what it looks like in his backyard right now, because this was just as it first started. And you got to think that with an inch per hour, that it's a whole lot more in his backyard right now.
Probably covering up a little more of that fence by now.
There's
we
one,
go.
yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. It's very pretty. Well, as soon as the snow started falling in Oklahoma and Arkansas, pictures started coming in. We love seeing what you all share with us. And okay, where are we looking now? This is really pretty. You can see, it almost looks like a golf course, Darren. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like that. It looks like that was early on in the snowfall. Again, safely, if you can, send us your pictures at 479-7855-5000. We will, of course, put them on air, but they will definitely go on our website. And we just love seeing, you know, we can be as many places as possible, but sometimes you guys are our ears and eyes. And when we start seeing things like this, it really does make it special, I think.
It does. Also send photos and videos. If you're having fun in the snow,
Yes.
sledding with the kiddos, making snow angels, we want to see all that too and share it. Well, crews with the Arkansas Department of Transportation have spent days getting ready for the storm system. You've likely seen their efforts over on the highways. Looking live right now on I-40 near Van Buren, you can see, oh man, maybe a plow came through earlier, or just that's traffic that is clearing at least one lane of snow right now. Not too many people on the roads right now. The agency has 85,000 cubic yards of salt, RDOT does, 31 tanker trailers they've been using to pre-treat roads. They also have a fleet of more than 600 snowplows. They'll be out there over the next couple of days as the system goes from now into Friday.
Yeah, it's like Scott was saying, that this is a statewide effort now. The RDOT is going to be spending a lot of time over the next 24 to 48 hours trying to clear the roads as best as possible. We're going to talk now with a couple of folks from Crawford County, and then later a bit in Sebastian County. Crawford County Emergency Management is now joining us with an update. Veronica Robbins is on the phone with us. Veronica, thanks for joining us. And as rural as Crawford County is, what's the situation now in the county?
Well, I just drove 64 highway from Van Buren to Dyer, and of course, you know, it's covered. You're going to have to creep home, and lots of snow, obviously, on the ground, and you know, people just need to be really, really careful out there. As good as our road departments are doing, both state and county, sometimes you just can't get all the way ahead of this, and so it's definitely slick. The side roads are very covered. I went about 20 miles an hour all the way to Dyer. Seen a couple of cars fishtailing it in front of me. Seen a couple in the ditch. Right now in Crawford County, they have closed down 59 highway due to a wreck. And then also, too, just for people in Crawford County or the surrounding areas, really, Crawford County Emergency Management is utilizing Code Red right now. And what we are doing through Code Red, it's our mass notification system. There's a link on our Facebook that will take you to where you can sign up. As we get those road closures, we're sending out those alerts for that, and that'll keep people off those roads or getting stuck, you know, near them and not being able to get around. But right now, we're just asking everybody, just if you can, stay off the roads, you know, stay at home, just enjoy it, play in the snow at home, not on the roads, because it's treacherous already out there.
Yeah, we can see not too many cars on the road right now as we look over Van Buren. Should people, if they are on the roads and they see these snow plows, should they give them a lot of room to work?
Yes. If you're on the road and you see any road maintenance vehicle, please allow them the right of way. They've got a job to do. And, you know, also with other vehicles, you know, keep your distance between vehicles. Don't, you know, get right up on someone. And, you know, like I said before, maintain a very safe speed that you can control your vehicle in. And I wanted to let y'all know, too, Logtown Hill has been closed.
I was just wondering if some of those hilly roads like Logtown and Highway 59 and a number of other roads are cleared as well too, or are getting to be where you can't drive on them. And I want you to reiterate again the Code Red situation. You can find out more on your Facebook page.
Correct. I just reshared our Code Red. We have a QR code and a link that you can go to sign up for that. anybody can sign up for it. And anytime we have any type of emergency situation in Crawford County, we will be using that mass notification alerting system to get that information out to anybody in the county, even coming through the county. So it's important that we can get everybody we can signed up to keep them notified. I will let y'all know that I have recently had a couple of warming centers, that have offered to open up. City of Dyer is going to open up their community center. First Presbyterian Church in Van Buren has a tent set up with some warm hand warmers and things like that if anybody needs to stay there. And if we need, the Van Buren Housing Authority has offered to open up their community center if anybody is in need.
All right, that was my next question, so I'm glad you addressed that. So, all right, well, Veronica, thank you so much, and again, thanks for the effort that your department and has put into this, and just remain safe as possible.
Absolutely, thank you for
Safe
all
as
your hard
possible.
work.
And remind people to stay inside, and if they go outside, to protect your skin, your lips, everything. Try to protect everything. We don't want anybody to get frostbite.
Right. Okay. Veronica, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, ahead of this storm system, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders declared a state of emergency. And just this morning, the governor used the declaration to mobilize 140 Arkansas National Guardsmen and women. And for this weather event, the Guardsmen and women will make up 28 winter weather response teams to help Arkansas State Police by transporting stranded drivers. Teams are patrolling the interstates and highways.
At noon today, we'll have over 150 Arkansas National Guard members partnering with the Arkansas State Police at 12 different locations across the state. Though they will be using 56 different Arkansas National Guard vehicles, and they'll be posturing with the Arkansas State Police to support the needs of the citizens of Arkansas and the travelers that are coming through our state.
Good to have the extra hands on deck for this. Well, the National Guard will be able to rescue people, but not their cars or belongings. So keep that in mind. Yeah,
well, the governor also has ordered Arkansas state offices to be closed today and tomorrow. In fact, schools responding to this weather event as well. 5 News is keeping up as best we can with all the announcement for closures and delays and early dismissals. Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville schools have already released for the day. We have not heard yet, though, what the plans are going to be for tomorrow for these districts. We'll also have, we'll bring you those as soon as we hear from them. Fort Smith, Van Buren, Poteau schools were closed today, and they will be closed tomorrow as well. We've got the full list on our website at 5newsonline.com. You can have instant access to that, and I don't see the QR code that's at the bottom of the screen. Am I looking? Not seeing it, but we can just send you to our website at 5newsonline.com. Now, weather is impacting, of course, all the areas of the state, and we're talking like every bit of the state so far.
It really feels like that, and
yeah.
It definitely is, as Scott was saying. Well, Central Arkansas could get hit especially hard, so let's send it out to Brooke Buckner live in Bryant right now with a look at the conditions there. Hey, Brooke.
Hey, Alexandra and Darren, good afternoon. Yes, the sleet just started falling literally like 2 minutes ago before this live shot went up. It is coming down. It's coming down pretty lightly. I don't think you can see it in the camera just yet. It's not really accumulating on any of my clothes or the ground just yet, but we expect it to. And that's why the county and RDOT, of course, they have been treating the roads ahead of this winter storm just to keep everyone safe. Get ahead of it as best you can. Also, Saline County does have plows ready to go on standby, expecting that accumulation to start piling up. School here at the Bryant School District just let out about 30 minutes ago at 1 o'clock. Benton School District, also nearby in Saline County, let out at 1 as well. They did a half day. And Harmony Grove, they just let out minutes ago, also in Saline County. So many school districts, just like you guys up in Northwest Arkansas, just stayed out for today, and also they're already planning to stay out for tomorrow. But here in Saline County, we had an exception. Just those 3 had those half days. So for now, we're just waiting on this sleet to probably turn into snow. That's what we hear is going to happen, and it should start accumulating here. And yeah, we're going to be out here all day just giving road updates and updates on the conditions that we're seeing. So for now, I'll go ahead and send things back over to you guys in the studio.
All right, Brooke, thanks. It's going to change. It's going to be massively different than what we just saw with Brooke there as well, too.
Yes.
All right, I want to check in now with another member of our 5 News team who is out and about in all this mess.
Yeah, it's fun to see how each of them are bundled up, too,
that's
in the
right.
earmuff style. Lauren Spencer is in LaFleur County for us today. Hey, Lauren, how is it out there?
Hey Alexandra, I can't help but smile in the snow. This is the first snow of the year for Arkansas. I'm having a great time out here. Feet are a little bit cold, hands are a little bit cold, but we're still having a good time. Snow is really coming down here. As we crossed into Fort Smith this morning, that's when we really started to see the snow. We crossed more into Oklahoma and we were like, wow, okay, it's actually accumulating here very, very rapidly. I will say though, with the snow does come trying to drive in it, which a lot of people here behind us are trying to drive. The trucks are doing well. The smaller cars, they're trying to go a little bit slower. But LaFleur County Sheriff's Office, they do say that their first responders have been really out here a ton trying to get to people that are stuck. They've been out all day, apparently lots and lots of crashes that they're responding to. So they're really asking you, like we've said a million times in the show, please, please, please stay home if you can. If you do have to go out there, they ask to keep a pretty long distance between you and the car in front of you, and as well as just go as slow as you can. Make sure you have extra time to get to your destination if you do have to go somewhere, but I would personally love to be inside, maybe by a fire reading my book right now, so maybe you could do that instead. That sounds good to me. But we're gonna be out here all day and all night keeping you updated in LaFleur County and in Podo, and the Podo mayor says that they do have snowplows and salt ready to go once they want to start plowing these roads. So we'll keep you updated when that happens, and we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Lauren, thanks. We're taking another look outside now at current conditions on RDOT. This is I-49 between Alma and Fayetteville. I'm telling you, that's not the place you want to be right now, especially if you're heading up toward the hill. There at the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. It's going to be really bad there if it hasn't already gotten that bad. Scott's in the Weather Service, and I'm telling you, we've got a new thing that we are trying out, and we just found out about this about an hour ago. Scott, what are we looking at right here?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Ken's Towing. It's out of Ozark. It's a large tow truck company covering East Oklahoma, a large majority of West Arkansas. They've got a fleet of 15 wreckers out on the roadway with live streaming capability, and they've allowed us to tap into all of their trucks. This live in Ozark right now. This looks to be along 23, just south of I-40. In fact, I'm trying to see what we're coming up along there. Okay, there's Pig Trail Liquor, so we're moving back towards the north. This is going to be Puddin Ridge Road. This is a bit of a hill, and some of these trucks have struggled to get up the hill. This is a live look from their tow truck right there. It looks like they're moving back towards their office right there. We'll keep monitoring those tow trucks. If you have a photo, we'd love to see it. We're getting a ton of them. My watch, the text messages go to my watch, and it hasn't stopped buzzing, and that's a good thing. I'm going to get to them. Stephen and Josh are also going to get through those text messages too. So if you haven't heard back from us, give us time. We're getting a lot of information from you folks, which we really appreciate. Try to include your name and your location, where you take those photos from, so we make sure to give you proper credit. That's our number here at the station, our cell phone number. This is a live look at Doppler radar, and what you'll see is things are really filling in. Carroll County, you've not seen much yet. Give it another hour or less, probably, and everyone's going to be seeing snow, and it's going to be somewhat continuous, especially across portions of southeast Oklahoma, the Arkansas River Valley, into the Ouachitas. Meanwhile, I think we're going to have some on and off activity continue in northwest Arkansas. It's really just getting started. We've seen a lot of accumulations. You just saw all those photos from all around the area, and it looks pretty wide out there, but we're on the very, very beginning of this event. The heaviest of snowfall totals is expected to arrive later this evening, continuing into the overnight hours before eventually tapering off by tomorrow morning. So we're seeing these impacts now, and that's likely going to continue to compound over the next several hours. I mean, pretty much you look at live radar, and everyone's getting some snow for the most part, the exception being parts of Carroll County. Benton County, farther northern part, maybe close to Bella Vista, it's probably pretty light, but it'll thicken up pretty soon. Those snowflakes are going to get bigger, and it's a wet snow. This is not that dry snow that we've dealt with the last few events that we've had pass through the area. There's a lot of moisture in the content of the air mass, and so that's going to result in some really wet, sometimes heavier snow. And the good news is that's awesome for the kids. It's the best kind of snow you could ask for snowballs, for snowmen, for sledding. when it comes to road impacts, it's a little bit slicker out there, right? And so you got to keep those things in mind. Let me walk you through live radar. A lot of you, of course, are just as good as reading radar as a meteorologist. But for those that may be looking at this thinking, okay, what's the difference between white and those darker blues? The white is going to be some of the lighter snowfall. The darker blues are where we really find the heavier snowfall rates. And I'm starting to see another band moving back into parts of southern Leflore County, even moving back into parts of Scott County. You really want to hone in on where those darker blues are falling. That's going to tell us that we've got some very efficient snowmakers out there. I think for the next probably hour to two, we're looking at a window in which we could see snowfall rates around 1 to 2 inches per hour. That's going to start to pile up really, really quickly at that rate. It's 1:45 right now. We expect the heaviest of snow to continue falling into the overnight hours. This is collectively what we're thinking, 4 to 7 northwest Arkansas, parts of the River Valley north of Interstate 40, even into parts of Sequoia, Adair, and Delaware County. But the further south you go, it really is going to be south of I-40, where I'm pretty sure Ken's records are going to be pretty busy over the next couple of hours. 5 to 8 inches are going to be common. The southern half of Franklin, a good majority of Logan County. It'd be an awesome day to be up at the state park there at Mount Magazine. Pretty nice day to be in southern Sebastian County. Also, if you really, really like snow, you're going to get a little bit. 7 to 9 is what I'm going to call for southern Leflore into Scott County. We really look at those heavier snow bands where we would expect those heavier amounts. But I do want to tell you, there's a possibility. There's a possibility, and this is not Scott promising you, there's a possibility there's going to be a couple of spots anywhere between Heavener, let's say Waldron, down towards Mena, within that triad, that someone's probably going to get 10 plus inches, just given how things are shaking out as this situation evolves. Timeline for the River Valley is going to look like this. It hasn't changed much. Keep in mind, it's snowing now. It's not going to really let up much. It may get light, it may briefly pause, but for the most part, we're going to continue to see a decent amount of snow continuing in the Arkansas River Valley, especially later in this evening. Now, with things moving from the south to north, the general orientation of the system would indicate that the northwest Arkansas part of the area probably sees a decent amount of snow later into the evening hours. And so what we're looking at is a rapidly changing and an evolving situation in which we are going to see widespread impacts. Snow is probably not going to let up for the next little bit. Stephen Elmore and Joshua Weisel, newest member of our team, that he's getting baptized by fire around here, are poring over the data. And we may have some more interesting news for you coming up in just a bit.
Thanks. And well, of course, in this frigid weather, healthcare professionals say it's very important to recognize the signs of hypothermia, especially if you get trapped out in all this.
Oh, very true. Well, the CDC says a few of those symptoms include shivering, confusion, and drowsiness. Meanwhile, one doctor says frostbite is something to also be aware of, too.
It can happen pretty quick, especially if you're wet. Water is a much better conductor of cold than the air. So if your hands or feet get wet, it can happen pretty quickly, especially if there's wind in these temperatures.
Well, the CDC says signs of frostbite include skin that is turned white or grayish and feels waxy or numb. They advise wearing warm clothes, of course, and to avoid going outside with exposed skin for a long time. Seek immediate medical attention if you have any of those symptoms.
Walmart says it's working hard, of course, to make sure shelves are stocked all across the country, regardless of any weather. Emergency managers tracking the weather, of course, to best protect associates and you, the customer. Company says there is an interactive live store closure list for people looking for last-minute items. It says Emergency Operations Center stores will remain open as long as it is safe.
All of our teams work together to make sure that we are able to deliver those everyday low prices ahead of the event and make sure that those shelves are stocked.
Walmart added someone will be tracking the weather impacts for associates, operations, and communities 24/7. Local Harp stores also working to have stock prepared for the increase in foot traffic as this storm progresses through the area. Winter storm not affecting the roads, or not only affecting the roads, it's affecting air travel as well.
Oh, definitely. Well, Dallas-Fort Worth airports have had to cancel or delay many flights, and that affects, of course, travel out of our airports like XNA. So be sure to check your flight. If you're planning to fly out today or tomorrow, you probably won't.
More than likely not, yes.
Yeah, unless they're, able to keep that runway clear. That's a tough job. All right, here's another look at some of the photos we showed you earlier. We are going to be showcasing more of them as they come in. Really curious if that's a golf course, but as you can see, backyards are getting coated with snow. We saw this one as we were seeing. This one came in a little bit ago. I'm sure the fence is more covered than it is in these photos.
Yeah, if you can safely send us a picture or even some video. Again, you know, we can be in as many locations as possible with the staff that we have, but a lot of times you guys are our eyes and ears when situations like this happen. And so if you can safely take a picture or two, or maybe a video or two, just make sure you put in there your name and the location where you shot the video and the picture. And then just text it to us. It's very simple on your phones, 479-785. 5,000. We'll be showcasing them pretty much all day on air and online on our website at 5newsonline.com. Some of these pictures are just gorgeous, especially these pasture pictures that we get here from over the area. So. Okay, all right. The of course, number one things that we are hearing from emergency officials in the area concerned for safety. Right now, we've got Captain Philip Peavyhouse with the Sebastian County Sheriff's on the phone with us right now. And Captain Peavyhouse, you and I have been around a long time. We've seen a number of these things. It just seems that the situation doesn't change with every one of these that have come in. What's the situation now in Sebastian County? I understand a lot of accidents on roads.
Yeah, we've got a lot of accidents. We don't have any injuries to report at this time, mainly people going off in the ditch, things such as that. But we've got a couple of active scenes that we need to make everybody aware of. If you're headed south on Highway 71, where the sharp hill is just outside of Huntington before you go into Mansfield, we've got about 3 big trucks there that are stuck. We've got wreckers en route, but some of those wreckers take a while to get there because they're for larger vehicles. So that's at 71 in Huntington, 71 just north of there near Palestine Road, where a little hill is as it goes up. Just where the 4-lane ends, we've got another truck that is jackknifed there as well. But almost every region of our county right now is reporting some traffic snag or someone stuck that is causing other people to have to back up as well.
We are watching a live feed right now. Fort Smith seeing a lot of traffic at a standstill and everyone else creeping very slowly. We heard earlier that Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is deploying the National Guard after declaring a state of emergency. 140 National Guardsmen and women going out across the state because a lot of the state, most of the state, will be seeing some form of snow, maybe a little or a lot, depending on the area. So have you been in contact with the state and the National Guard to get assistance from them?
No, I have not, and usually that will filter through our emergency management department, assistance from the state, which would come down to our level. You know, kind of the way this hits, and it's always this way, the first few hours, the road crews really haven't had a good fighting chance to get their materials out, to get the plows out. And so we're just trying to survive these first few hours to kind of get things levelized, get people home. A lot of people are working, they're trying to get home. Just going to be some snags, and we're all going to have to be patient, but we'll get there safely. You
know, that brings up an interesting point. We've heard this from other police departments, that is this a situation that if you're an offender bender and you're not injured, basically just pull over the best you can?
Yeah, that's about it for right now. You can probably faintly hear in the background the chatter of my radio. It hasn't stopped in probably a couple of hours, as well as right now we're looking at about 10 active calls. That doesn't mean there aren't others pending, but that's ones we've actually got law enforcement personnel that are there and trying to get the situation clear. But again, I am thankful and already stated that we don't have anybody that's been injured to this point that I'm aware of.
Okay. Captain Peavyhouse, thank you so much. I know you're going to be busy along with the rest of the department, and for that matter, the county road department as well, too. Thanks for your time, and be safe, my friend.
I appreciate y'all, and thank you so much for having us on.
All right, thank you, Captain. And we've just learned as we are following the school closures that Fort Smith Public Schools will be closed tomorrow. You can scan the QR code on your screen right there if you want to follow all the school closings and delays.
We got a bunch of them, that's for sure. And I know we've got a lot of businesses that are on our website as well too that have called in or at least logged on to close their business well for the rest of the day and for that matter for tomorrow. Want to get another check of the forecast as well, and do we have another one of our tow truck cams going here?
Yeah, this is a live picture from one of Ken's Towing's trucks. This one's in Clarksville. Snow starting to come down there. Ken just texted me they're now responding to an 18-wheeler rolled over at the 28-mile marker along I-40. So things are going to get continuously busy. A live look there in Clarksville, though, from one of 15 different tow trucks that have live streaming capability that we're going to be able to tap into throughout the continuation of this event. So live look in Clarksville. Things are certainly starting to get active out there. Live radar looks like this. It's inching further and further and further towards the north. It's pretty steady clip out there. But notice this, we start to see some breaks in that precipitation. That's going to be expected. So if it stops snowing and you think, man, that weatherman promised me 4 inches of snow. What happened? It's going to fill back in. We're going to continue to see moisture move back into the area pretty much for the next several hours. I don't think this event is over with until probably mid-morning tomorrow for many of us, and that's when the precipitation ends. Road impacts are definitively going to continue, of course, much longer than that. I'm going to do something a little interesting here. What I'd like to do is take a closer look into parts of the River Valley and the Ouachitas on live radar. As we do, what we're going to find here there's no sleet mixing in anymore. We did have a brief burst of sleet at the early onset of this event, but right now everything is falling in the form of just plain old snow. And then when you look at the actual temperatures out there, you're going to notice that we're well at that freezing mark or below it across most of the area. Looks like Clarksville maybe right now reporting 34 degrees. Now that the precipitation has began, we're probably going to see those temperatures dropping off really quickly. But for the majority of us, I mean, Fort Smith's at 28, Fayetteville's at 30. It's certainly going to continue to accumulate. Road impacts will continue. As Captain Peavy House said, something that we know from statistics of past winter weather events, the most accidents happen at the early onset, the first couple of hours of the event, which is right now. So we got numerous accidents. They continue to pour into the area. We're going to have more of those. This is what radar shows us right now, though. This is going to continue probably through the evening hours. And when it's all said and done, this is what we expect. 4 to 7 inches across northwest Arkansas. This is our final call, our final snow map. So I'm not going to make any updates to this, but I do want to tell you there is some data that the Weather Service is just now sharing with us that indicates a lot of us may fall closer to the high ends than the low ends. I'm sharing that in transparency, but I'm not making a promise. I know a lot of folks love their snow around here. I'm not promising everyone gets 7 and promising everyone gets 8 and 9 in the southern part of the area, but I am telling you, with the brand new data that we get almost by the minute, it's all really showcasing the fact that we're probably going to trend higher on these ranges than on the low side. And I think based off what we're seeing on live radar right now, that's certainly going to be panning out. Overall timeline is going to look a lot like this. It's snowing now, 70%. I mean, make it at 100, right? It's all a technicality. The key takeaway with this timeline is the bulk of the accumulation is expected later this evening into the overnight hours. So this is the pregame show right now. We're just getting warmed up, no pun intended. The temperatures are certainly going to continue dropping, I should say. But the better chances of snow really accumulating at a much quicker rate is going to be later into the evening hours as this certainly continues. Winter storm warning is in effect for all of the area. If you're in pink, you are under that winter storm warning. And now it includes a good chunk of East Oklahoma, almost the entire state of Arkansas, and that runs through tomorrow. The pain in the rear end index looks like this. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on TV, but I've been saying it. No one's told me to stop, so I'm going to say it. That's what this is. A winter storm severity index. It's a mouthful. Ultimately, what this product does is it tells us how big of a nuisance, how many impacts, how much is this really going to disrupt my daily life? And what we find now is that all of the River Valley, a good chunk of it, I should say, is showing up in red. That's major, major impacts with this system. Orange all across